This is Jarrod Horak, and it's Wednesday, December 11th. And in this horse racing video, I'm going to take a look at Kentucky Derby 2025 historical trends. Now, I posted my Kentucky Oaks historical trends video last week. You can watch that video on my YouTube channel, and you can read my Kentucky Oaks report that I did along with that video at the runawayhorse.com on my Kentucky Oaks page. And then also I posted that on my Churchill Downs page. Now, I did post my first Kentucky Derby blog at the runawayhorse.com earlier today. You can view that report on my Churchill Downs page and my Kentucky Derby page at the runawayhorse.com. And I also included a link in the description in this video to my Derby report and my Oaks report. Now, my Kentucky Derby report includes a recap of the first 8 points races, updated point standings, and my exceptional 11 Kentucky Derby 2025 contenders. So check that out at the runawayhorse.com if you're interested. And just like I do each year, I'm covering all of the Kentucky Derby points races on my YouTube channel. My top choices have 4 wins and a runner-up finish through the first 8 Kentucky Derby points races. So keep checking my YouTube channel each week for horse racing news, handicapping videos, Derby and Oaks points race video series, and much more. Now, I got home a couple Kentucky Oaks points race winners last week on my Road to the Oaks video series. In the Grade 2 Demoiselle Stakes, my top choice Muhimma went wire to wire, and then Tenma was all over the pace and winning as my top choice in the Grade 2 Starlet Stakes at Los Alamitos Racecourse. I'm covering 2 Derby points races on my Road to the Derby video series this week, the Remington Springboard Mile at Remington Park on Friday, December 13th, and the Los Alamitos Futurity at Los Alamitos Racecourse on Saturday, December 14th. Now, I already posted the Remington Springboard Mile video earlier today, so you can watch that one on my YouTube channel if you're interested. And I'm going to post the Los Alamitos Futurity on my YouTube channel later this week. Now, if you want a bonus free pick each day, go over to my personal website, therunawayhorse.com, and click on the Better Bets blog tab at the top of my homepage if you want a free pick from around the country each day. I had good success recently with Better Bets winners. I had top choice stakes winners on December 6th and December 7th. I got home an exacta at Turf Paradise on December 10th. And then I had a top choice winner at Tampa Bay Downs earlier today on December 11th. So I got free picks from around the country each day. Tomorrow for December 12th, I'm doing a race at Gulfstream Park. And I try to do stakes races from around the country whenever I get a chance on my Better Bets blog tab. And if you're interested in my full card analysis, my full cards will resume with Santa Anita Park on December 26th, their opening day. You can find those full cards at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page. Now we're going to look at some of the key trends for the Kentucky Derby and these Kentucky Derby historical stats. And the first one I'll talk about is the unraced 2-year-olds in the Derby. Now, since the year 1882, only 2 unraced 2-year-olds have won the Kentucky Derby, Justify in 2018 and Mage in 2023. So typically, you want your Derby contender to have experience as a 2-year-old, but if they're talented, they're able to overcome that lack of experience as a 2-year-old and win anyway, just like Justify did in 2018 and Mage in 2023. Now, 4 of the last 9 Kentucky Derby winners did not break their maidens until their 3-year-old seasons. Now, 2 of those horses I just mentioned, Justify and Mage. The other 2, Country House, he was placed first through disqualification in the Derby, and Always Dreaming for trainer Todd Pletcher. So 2 of those 4 horses were the unraced 2-year-olds that I mentioned. Then the other 2, Country House, placed first through disqualification, Always Dreaming. Now, all of the Kentucky Derby winners from the years 2002 through 2016 graduated during their juvenile campaigns. So that was a 15-year run there, and 13 of those Kentucky Derby winners had broken their maidens by October 4th of their 2-year-old seasons. So that was a long stretch of 15 years from 2002 to 2016 where we saw horses break their maiden by October 4th, and then they all came back during that stretch, and they were able to win the Kentucky Derby. So it was important during that run for horses to have that 2-year-old experience and to have broken their maiden by the fall of their 2-year-old seasons. Now, we'll talk about the exceptions during that stretch. Orb and Smarty Jones. So I said 13 of those 15 broke their maiden by October 4th. Orb and Smarty Jones did not. They graduated in November of their 2-year-old seasons. And we had 2 other recent Kentucky Derby winners break their maidens in November of their 2-year-old seasons as well. 2020 Kentucky Derby winner Authentic and 2024 Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan. Now in 2021, Mandaloun was placed first through disqualification in the Kentucky Derby. He broke his maiden in his career debut at Keeneland in October of his 2-year-old season. That was October 24th. And then Medina Spirit actually won the Kentucky Derby that year, but he was disqualified for a medication overage. And for him, he did break his maiden in his career debut December 11th of 2020. Now in 2022, we had a big long shot win the Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike. He broke his maiden second time out at Churchill Downs in a maiden claiming race, September of 2021. Now for Rich Strike, he was one that loved Churchill Downs. He just seemed to elevate his game when he got to that oval, and he got a lot of pace help in that 2022 Kentucky Derby. Now the Wood Memorial, we have a negative stat there, but it was a positive stat early in the 2000s. From 2000 to 2003, 3 of the 4 Kentucky Derby winners had their final prep race in the Wood Memorial. We saw Funnyside, Monarchos, and Fusaichi Pegasus all win the Kentucky Derby, and they ran in the Wood Memorial. We have not had a Wood Memorial winner or a horse exiting the Wood Memorial win the Kentucky Derby since 2003. That's been a negative prep race recently. So from 2004 to 2019, 13 Kentucky Derby winners exited one of 3 races. The Arkansas Derby, we saw 4 horses win the Kentucky Derby. The Florida Derby, 5 winners. And the Santa Anita Derby, 4 winners. So 13 horses from the years 2004 to 2019 had their final prep race for the Kentucky Derby in the Arkansas Derby, the Florida Derby, or the Santa Anita Derby. Now in 2021, Medina Spirit, he finished second in his final prep race in the Santa Anita Derby, but he was disqualified out of the Kentucky Derby. So that meant that Mandaloun was the Kentucky Derby winner that year, and he was exiting an unplaced effort in the Louisiana Derby. In 2022, Rich Strike, he was exiting a show finish in the Jeff Ruby Stakes that used to be the Spiral Stakes at Turfway Park on all-weather ground. And then the Florida Derby was back in action again when Mage won the 2023 Kentucky Derby after running in the Florida Derby. And then last year, the Arkansas Derby was trending again. Show finisher in the Arkansas Derby, Mystic Dan, he won the Kentucky Derby. So typically, looking at it overall, I think you would like to see your Kentucky Derby winner possibly exiting the Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby, or Santa Anita Derbies. Now for the UAE Derby, they've had a long jinx for that race, but Forever Young had the best effort coming out of the UAE Derby for any horse that's run there. Now prior to last year, that prep race, 0 for 19, 0 trifecta finishes. But Forever Young almost ended that long drought when he finished a close third. He missed by 2 noses from winning the Kentucky Derby. And he was bothered in the stretch when Sierra Leone was lugging in as well. So he was a bit unlucky there as well. And now the UAE Derby winner in 2023, Derma Sotogake, he did also come for the Kentucky Derby that year. He was 6th in the Kentucky Derby. So Forever Young ran well out of that UAE Derby, but now that UAE Derby 0 for 20 with horses running the Kentucky Derby with just 1 show finish. Now Kentucky Derby favorites, since 2013, post-time favorites have 6 wins, 2 runner-up finishes, and 2 show finishes. Now Improbable was 4th as the beaten favorite in 2019. In 2023, Angel of Empire was the favorite, and he rallied to finish 3rd. And then last year in 2024's Kentucky Derby, the favorite was Fierceness, and he was up attending above par fractions, and he faded to finish 15th as the beaten favorite. So that's a look at the historical trends. I think overall, looking at those historical trends, an unraced 2-year-old can overcome things, but you'll probably want to have a horse, most likely, that has experience as a 2-year-old. And you'd like to see that horse have graduated during their 2-year-old seasons. We mentioned some of the other angles. Maybe the Wood Memorial is a race that you want to avoid. The horses just haven't been doing well exiting the Wood Memorial. Horses exiting the Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, They seem to have the most success in the Kentucky Derby. Favorites have been doing well since 2013 as well. 10 of the horses have top 3 finishes, so that's a good angle as well. That's going to do it for the historical trends. We'll have to see how all that plays out this year. We could have an unraced 2-year-old. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Maybe a horse from the Wood Memorial jumps up and wins the Kentucky Derby. We're not sure. But overall, when you're playing the Derby and when I'm playing the Derby, I kind of look at these historical trends to help make my final decisions as we get close to the Kentucky Derby. And I'm starting to get serious about handicapping that race. But we're early on the road to the Derby right now. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like these horse racing videos. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.